Hello, everybody. It's April here, doing her coaching thing again. I apologize. For wearing the weird glasses today. For some reason, I just don't like the norm. So I hope that I don't distract you with my glasses. But I really wanted to have an opportunity. I'm actually here in my office. In case any of you, I am co-owner. My goodness, I am the owner of Deep Within coaching sessions. And one of the things that I'm doing right now is I am working with people in order to help them and coach them into a learning in relationships, growing in relationships, as well as career growth. And today, I actually wanted to talk to you guys about something that I found so interesting that I learned during my therapy sessions, during reading, is something called intermittent, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, reinforcement. Okay. It is the most interesting thing. I didn't even know this existed. So this is why I wanted to share with you guys to see if you guys have ever felt this in relationships before. And when I finally found out that this was a thing, I thought, oh my gosh, this makes sense. I thought I was going crazy. Um, intermittent reinforcement actually happens when an emotional reassurance or closeness or sorry about that, on my other phone, closeness or responsiveness is given inconsistently and unpredictably. Okay, sometimes you're in a relationship where that person can be warm and they're so connecting, and then all of a sudden they're absent and they're withdraw, but there's no clear reason. Have you guys ever dated somebody like that, or maybe um been married to somebody like that? Like, it's interesting because they make you feel so good and so close, and then all of a sudden they disappear. They're absent, and you're just left wondering what the heck happened in this relationship, or what is going on in my marriage now. In a anxious, preoccupied, dynamic relationship, meaning this type of attachment style, it is so confusing because the anxiety is so spiked up for both people, especially the person that is trying to constantly please. And what this looks like in behavior is that communication with that other person is so unpredictable. I mean, it is crazy. It's unpredictable. Sometimes when you text them, oh, they'll show you attentiveness, they'll be affectionate, they'll respond, but then everything goes good for like, and I've heard this all the time with people that are dating, but everything went great for like 2 weeks and then he disappeared. This might be something that you might want to hear. Other times they disappear, or they delay, or they just go emotionally cold. Like there's just nothing there. And you're left wondering, like, what the heck is going on? This is a clear pattern that you actually can pick up on. You know something's not right. You feel it. Um, but it's interesting because you don't know, in this type of relationship, you don't know, are you going to hear from them? Are you not going to hear from them? Um, are things really okay? You start doubting your relationship. Are things okay with us? And then you, as a person, wants that reassurance because you're starting to distress, what's going on in this relationship. So then you start to feel anxious. You start to wait. You start to spiral down, thinking, "Oh my God, I need this reassurance." And this reassurance feels so powering. So let me give you an example, okay? But it doesn't last. Let me give you an example. You're in a relationship and you think things are going well, and then you're texting your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and then they usually text back and you don't hear from them. And you're like, that's interesting. You do that in the morning. In the afternoon, you text them again. Hey, sent you a text in the morning, but I didn't hear anything in the afternoon. What's going on? You don't hear anything. Then at nighttime, you text them again and you're calling them and you're calling them and they're not answering. And you are just spiking with what happened? What's going on? What's going on in the relationship? Is it okay? Is it not okay? And then you don't hear from them until the next day. But then once you hear from them, you feel better. You feel reassured, but it doesn't last. Okay, that is nervous regulation. That is not good for you. Okay, I've done this before. I'm guilty. Okay, I'm waiting for a text, I'm waiting for a call, and I don't hear nothing. And I am my insides are going like this. I can look fine on the outside, but my insides are going like this. That is not healthy for us. Okay? Because what we're doing to ourselves is that we're telling ourselves, you know what? I have to feel really, really bad to feel better. Because we're waiting for them to reassure us by either texting us back or by calling us back. Not healthy at all. Not healthy at all. Then you start seeing these type of attachment styles where they never follow through. They give you all these promises. They tell you they're going to do all of this and they never follow through. It drives me absolutely up the wall. They say the right things when tension peaks. When you tell these type of people that have this type of attachment style, you know what? It's done. I'm over. Oh my goodness, they're going to give you all the attention in the world. Why? Because the tension has peaked. Okay. Then they start telling you, oh, you know what? I care. I'll do better. But you don't see any action behind it because it doesn't change. So words become the reward to the person that's going through this intermittent phase, because then they start telling us what we want to hear and it goes to the brain as a reward system. So then they start getting this hot and cold personality. And what is that? It's like intense connection, and then they distance themselves, and then you reconnect again, and then they distance themselves. That feeling feels so real, like you earned it, but it's not steady. It's not healthy. You start measuring, your behavior to keep it. We start changing for them. It's like we're constantly waiting. Back to the texting thing or the calling thing. We're waiting for them. And what happens is we're the ones that's trying to save the relationship. We're the ones that are trying to give the relationship. And when they finally text us or call us back, we feel better. Or we tell them, we're done. I'm not doing this anymore. And then all of a sudden they tell us all the right things. And then we're like, we feel better. Why? Because we're rewarding our mind, our brain. It's our nervous system that's talking. Now, it's interesting because many people, and I've done this myself, is that when I go through this, I start feeling like I don't recognize myself anymore. Like, what is going on? Remember, we had talked about in other podcasts how I tend to be both anxious and avoidant, and I'm trying to hit the secure attachment style. I'm trying to learn how to regulate myself and not letting somebody else regulate me. And what I mean by that is meaning when I start getting nervous because I didn't hear a text or I didn't hear a call, I start feeling this anxious spike. Instead of calming myself, when I hear from them, then it calms. No, you cannot let somebody else regulate your emotions. That is very, very dangerous. That is what I learned in different therapy sessions and learning. And the reason why that, we tend to bond so strongly that I read scientifically is because when we're doing this pull and push thing with them, our dopamine spikes up and that's that anticipation, like what's going to happen. And then our cortisol spikes up and then we start feeling stressed. And then we start to create that emotional dependency on them. And then it feels like you're strengthening that attachment style towards them, but you have to see consistency. And this is the same mechanism that's used actually, which is really crazy that I learned. It's the same feeling as when you're addicted to something, like when you're addicted to gambling. You might win once and you're like, oh my gosh, I won once, it might work again. It's the same thing we're doing, but in relationships. Okay. Now, why does it feel like love? Well, it feels like love because, it's that intensifying feeling. It's that reassurance feeling. But, that's really just your, within your deep attachment of feeling that chemistry and that passion, but it's not safety, guys. It's not safety at all. Now, what breaks the cycle, and it does hurt to break the cycle, is when you need to stop getting reassurance from someone else. In certain relationships, there has been times where when I was doing the coaching sessions, I had people that were dating other people. And what happened is they were just losing themselves. they were using that other person to regulate their own emotions. And once again, what I mean by that is when they didn't hear from them for like a day, 2 days, a week, they were just panicking. But the moment that they heard from them, they felt so good and safe. Why? Because here we go with the dopamine rush. Here we go with the reassurance. And that person should not be able to regulate you. We should be able to regulate ourselves. So with this person, she cut him off. She blocked him. She didn't want nothing to do with him. And it of course it hurts. It does hurt because she loved the potential of him and she loved how she felt. But that's not love. She was loving the moments of that reassurance of that. That's what she was enjoying. Now, what's so interesting is intermediate reinforcement, okay, with an anxious, preoccupied relationship feels like if they're being kept emotionally alive, but then they drop for reassurance and they don't know, it's uncertain if they're going to get that or not. And it's so dangerous because I see that a lot. On Facebook, I see a lot of like the no contact groups, and I see that constantly. How they're like, well, we haven't been in contact for 2 weeks, and I'm going crazy, and I want to reach out. Okay, that's where intermediate comes in. Because why do you want to reach out if they weren't giving you what you need? If they weren't meeting your emotional needs, if they weren't there for you, why would you want to reach out? Why, are you missing the potential of them? Or is it really you that you're realizing that you're in this push pull thing within yourself? And that's what I want to end it with, is really think about it. Really think about it when you're in relationships and, you know, you're feeling like you're the one that's giving more and you feel like you're going insane and then they disappear on you and they don't give you the time of day of texting or calling you consistently. Guys, red flags. Red flags. Because we stay in the, well, I know he has the potential and I know he can change and I know he doesn't mean to and I know that he had trauma in the past. Guys, that's their trauma. That's their issue. That's not yours. Okay? You got to take care of you. You come first. Okay? Is it hard in the beginning? Yes, it is. But once you start learning that you don't depend on anybody else to regulate those nervous systems and those emotions, whew, you're going to feel a whole lot better. You're going to learn to love yourself and you're going to learn how to be more secure within yourself. I hope that this podcast really taught you a little bit. It taught me a lot. When I learned it, I was just like, this is a thing. Here I thought I was being needy. But no, it's actually a word. So I encourage you to really read into it. If you know someone or if you yourself have been doing this, by all means, read up on it. It will really open up your mind because I always believe, guys, that knowledge is power and you can never stop growing. Until next time.